Hey guys, so we are going to be covering slides 65 to 78 today. So we just finished talking about cells, and now we're going to be talking about what happens or what is formed when there's a group of cells that are performing a similar function, and that is tissue. And then we're going to eventually talk about how they join together to form organs and then organ systems. Okay, so if you are taking notes, remember on the exit slip, you'll be able to use the notes. So we are multicellular organisms, as you know, meaning we're made of many cells. So we either have multicellular organisms or unicellular organisms. So a unicellular organism would be something like a bacteria or some protists are unicellular. But when we talk about plants and animals and humans, we're talking about multicellular organisms. So in multicellular organisms, the cells are specialized, meaning they have a different shape and size and function based on what they are doing. So, like in a bacteria cell, every bacteria cell of that species is going to have the same shape. But for us, depending on what part of our body it is, the cell has a specific shape and a size based on its function. So here are some examples. This is a drawing of a brain cell, and you can see how it has these long dendrites, which are these almost like branchy nerves. This is a fat cell, and obviously they store fat, so you can kind of see that color. Blood cells, this is specifically red blood cells. They're shaped almost like a lifesaver candy or a Cheerio that doesn't have the hole pop through in the middle. Red blood cells carry oxygen throughout our body. And then we have skin cells. And skin cells are sort of flattened and layered, just like you can imagine that our skin has many layers of skin cells. So, one really important thing is that cells have special ways of communicating with each other so that the multicellular organism can function. So, for example, if you were to cut your skin, your cells react by sending a chemical messenger to tell the other cells in your body that that part of your skin needs repairing. So, chemical messengers are sent throughout your body to go help where that injury is. So the chemical messages are sent, and then whatever it is that is needed to come repair will come there. So usually it'll be like platelets that will help to clot the blood will be sent. And that's why you'll see when you have an injury cut, it'll sometimes be red and inflamed in the area because of those extra blood cells that come in. So, immune cells are some of the coolest cells in our body. So, they help to keep us healthy. And so, again, if we have an injury, immune cells are going to respond to help repair or get rid of any bad bacteria, hopefully. Okay. So, this is the bacteria. And then this image here is supposed to be representing white blood cells. So, our white blood cells are one of the immune cells in our body that help us to get rid of bad bacteria, so they will come in and attack. So if somebody suspects that they are ill, one of the things that they'll test for is their white blood cell count, because that will help to give an indication if it's off. Like if your white blood cell count is high, there might be some sort of infection that your body's trying to fight. And then they'll do more tests to figure out what that infection is. So when you get cut, why does an adult always make you wash that cut first? Okay, so here's the cut here, and this is just a drawing. It's not a real cut. This is imagining the bacteria. So remember, on our body, we have all these bacteria cells on the outside of our body, good and bad. And so if you get a cut, either whatever is doing the cut could be putting bad bacteria inside your body, or the cut itself, as you cut yourself, the bad bacteria can enter your body through the cut because it's on the surface of your body. So if you're getting an injury, the bad bacteria cells can get into the tear of your skin. But luckily, we do have an immune system that helps fight this. And again, I said these were called white blood cells. And then the scientific name for a white blood cell is called a leukocyte. The prefix leuco actually means white. So the leukocytes are what builds up to help fight that bad bacteria. So again, there was a cut. The bad bacteria got inside the body. Chemical messengers were sent through the body to say, hey, come fix this. Your blood vessel is going to fill with those white blood cells. It's going to send them close to that injury to help to clean up the bacteria. So question number 5 says, what is one way cells communicate with each other? They send emails. Cells cannot communicate. They send chemical signals, or they send radio signals. The answer is C, send chemical signals. Okay, so there's this word tissue. When we're talking about tissue in science class, we are talking about a group of cells that have a similar shape and function, and there's 4 main categories in human tissue, and these are some big words that some of them you may not have heard of before. So you'll need to know what these 4 categories are: connective, muscle, epithelial, so I'm going to say that word again, epithelial, and nervous tissue. And then plants have plant tissue. We're going to talk about each of these 4 types. All right, so connective tissue. Most of our bodies are really made of connective tissue, or a lot of our bodies made of connective tissue. It supports and binds other tissue. So connective tissue connects. It supports, you need to write that down, and binds other tissues. Connective tissues serve many other purposes in the body. So some of the things that they do, connective tissue forms blood cells, and it stores fats. Okay, these are examples of connective tissue. Adipose, just so you know, is another name for fat. You don't need to know that for the test, but I'm just telling you that. But anyway, these are some examples of what connective tissue could look like. That word's fibrous. All right, and then there's nervous tissue. That's the next category. So nervous tissue is basically the tissue that makes up your brain, your spinal cord, and any of your branching nerves. And that word here is peripheral, meaning like your not the main part of your central nervous system, not the brain and the spinal cord, and it's any of the nerves that branch off of it. So the nervous tissue's main function is to regulate and control the body. So any nervous tissue is regulating and controlling the body. Okay, and these are some examples of what some of the nervous tissue could look like. These things here are dendrites. You'll notice how this nervous tissue has these long branching chains. In fact, you have some nerves that are a meter long because they send one cell is a meter long, really thin and long in your leg. They send messages so quickly. So in case you were to get injured, say in your leg, it'll send a message very quickly that you need to take care of that. Your body needs to take care of that. So it's really important that they have that shape so that the messages can be sent quickly through your nervous tissue. Okay. Third type of tissue is epithelial tissue. Important word here is that it covers. So epithelial tissue covers external surfaces and internal cavities and organs. So basically your epithelial tissue covers. It either covers your body, like your skin, and it also covers your organs inside your body, like your stomach and things like that. And it also forms your glands, which I'm sure you've heard about glands before. Glands are part of your body that send chemical messengers, but so the epithelial tissue makes those up. So epithelial tissue helps to protect organisms from other microorganisms and injury and loss. So they're a covering and they help to protect. Okay, these are just different types of epithelial tissue within your body. Okay, you may have heard of your esophagus before. Squamous cells are just squells or cells within your tissue. And that's a gland. All right. So again, epithelial covers surfaces and covers organs. That's what's important to know there. Fourth type of tissue is muscle tissue. This one's really easy. When we think of muscle, we think of movement. So muscle is used for locomotion, but it helps to move food throughout the gut, which is your digestive system, and also muscles help you to produce heat. So here are the 3 types of muscle tissue. You need to know these, so write these down. Skeletal, smooth, and cardiac. So skeletal muscle is going to be those muscles that move your skeleton. Smooth muscles are muscles that are inside your organs, like your stomach. They help to move food in your gut. And then cardiac muscle, if you see the word cardiac, you probably think of heart. The cardiac muscle pumps the blood. It pumps your heart. So again, muscle is used for locomotion, to move food, and to produce heat. And the 3 types of muscle tissue: skeletal, smooth, cardiac. What's the primary function of connective tissue? Connective, primary, to support external structures, to support muscles, to connect neurons to the brain, to support and bind other tissue. The answer is D. Connective tissue is to support and bind other tissue. 27. Which tissue type has 3 basic forms that are called smooth, skeletal, and cardiac? So which type of tissue is smooth, skeletal, and cardiac? Is it connective, epithelial, muscle, or nervous? The answer is C, muscle. Muscle can be smooth, skeletal, or cardiac. Which tissue covers? It covers external surfaces, and it also covers internal organs. Is it nervous, connective, epithelial, or muscle? The answer is C, epithelial. Okay, we're going to stop right there.